We're here because free speech is under attack. We're here because people are being convinced that socialism works. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Debt ceilings, drug lords, and downsizing. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lupkin, and here's the news you need to know. The Biden administration and House Republicans edged closer to a deadline on Thursday to raise the federal debt ceiling, with no signs of progress towards ending a standoff. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen warned last week the nation would reach the $31.4 trillion borrowing cap and have to start resorting to extraordinary measures to keep from exceeding it. Republicans are demanding huge spending cuts and fiscal responsibility before agreeing to raising the debt ceiling. Democrats have refused to discuss concessions. We will not be doing any negotiation, White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said last week. Without adjusting the limit, the government could eventually face a default on its debt. Without the spending cuts, the situation will simply repeat itself again as the United States debt continues to rise. Mexico's former top drug cop, Genaro Garcia Luna, went on trial this week on charges of conspiring with criminals he was supposed to be pursuing. Garcia Luna, who had been seen as the architect of Mexico's fight against the country's powerful drug cartels, was arrested in December 2019. A former cartel member testified in the trial of drug lord El Chapo that he delivered Garcia Luna briefcases of cash from the cartel, allegedly to let it operate freely. Garcia Luna called the claims lies, defamation, and perjury. The case could unveil the ties, the links, the connection between political power and the so-called drug gangs in Mexico. Microsoft is the latest technology giant to lay off scores of employees as the entire sector continues to restructure itself in the name of profitability over growth. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella announced that the company will lay off approximately 10,000 employees beginning on Wednesday. The layoffs, which will be completed by the end of the third quarter, will represent a bit less than 5% of the company's workforce. In his memo, Nadella outlined the rationale for the cuts, hitting similar themes to other CEOs over the last few months. Goldman Sachs on Tuesday reported fourth quarter profits of $1.3 billion, a 66% drop from the same period a year earlier, as deal-making slowed on Wall Street. The profit came to $3.32 per share, well below the $5.56 per share that analysts were expecting. Revenue came in at $10.6 billion, short of the $10.8 billion analysts were expecting, and 16% lower than a year earlier. Goldman has had a rough start this year. Last week, it announced it was laying off 3,000 employees and said it was pulling back on its costly and unsuccessful push into consumer banking, which has lost $3 billion since 2019. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcasts app, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.